Hey, welcome to another episode of the Rock Fantasy Files, and I'm here with Indiana heavy metal paragons, as Napalm Records refers to you as Wolftooth. They're set to release a third full-length album, Blood and Iron, on December 3rd, 2021, this year, via Napalm Records. And Richmond, Indiana's Wolftooth launched onto the scene in 2017, swiftly grabbing the attention of fans, tastemakers, and industry alike. Now building upon the subterranean success of their lauded previous albums, 2018's self-titled Wolftooth and 2020's Valhalla, the band unveils a colossal full-length Napalm Records debut, Blood and Iron, once again out December 3rd, offering an immense slab of proto-metal influence and heaviness with a deep dose of doom essence and addictive stoner riffage. Blood and Iron isn't just an epic in sound, but at heart, the album travels through a treasure trove of fantasy themed lyrical influences, exploring mystical and often treacherous themes of mythology, love, legend, with a focus on sorcery, battle, and nonstop adventure. Recorded and mixed and mastered by producer Jeremy Lovins, Blood and Iron is a true nod to the classic feel-good American heavy metal with modernized flair. And today's listeners can get a first taste of Blood and Iron with the victorious single, The Voyage, which is out on a video right now. And I believe that is on YouTube, and we checked that out earlier. And welcome to the show. I'm here with Chris A Sullivan. You're the guitarist and vocalist, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. And welcome to the to the vlog. And that was just what I read off was a part of the press release at Napalm, and I didn't make it up myself. So just so you know,
Yeah.
but I thought it was pretty fitting for people that are just discovering the band, getting an idea of what it's all about. So let's talk about the new album. How many tracks are on it, Chris?
There's 9 tracks on the album.
Okay, and you want to go over a couple of them with us? Maybe list a few of the songs.
Yeah, sure. What song you want to? What song you
I don't
want to
know. What starts the album off? What song is it? Do you have them in front of you? You want to list off a few of the names and talk just a
Well,
little bit about?
The album starts off with a song called Ahab,
Okay.
and that's basically about what you would expect it to be, the voyage of Ahab pursuing Moby Dick.
Okay.
And I had to read that book when I was in high school, and I pretty much hated it because I'm not a huge reader. I spend a lot more time writing music.
Okay.
So I don't get a chance to read a lot. And when I'm not working, and I like to spend time on my guitar instead of with my face in a book. But anyway, the book was so long that it seemed like it was never ending. But after I actually made myself read the book and got through it, I was really inspired by it, and it really hit a chord with me. So looking back on my high school years, which was quite a few years ago, it was the one book that I remembered reading, besides maybe like Catcher in the Rye or To Kill a Mockingbird was probably one of my favorites. Okay. But Ahab anyway is about the voyage, as far as his pursuit of his nemesis Moby Dick and the failure. I just thought it was a cool storyline, and I've always had the imagery for some reason of Gregory Peck playing Ahab in the movie, and it was just I've always thought it was a really cool storyline of pursuit and failure and success in some certain sort of way.
Okay, so that starts off the album. What track number 2? What do you got?
Track number 2 is called Helispot, and it is about Xerxes, which I didn't know a lot about Xerxes before I started writing the song. And actually, I kind of write the lyrics and the music different than a lot of people do, at least from what I've been told. I don't write any lyrics until after the music is already written and choreographed.
Okay.
So basically, these guys, it's kind of unfair to the band because they have no clue what the vocals are going to sound like when we go into the studio. so I do all my vocals in the studio. I really don't do any pre-vocal stuff in the rehearsal room.
Okay.
Oh, and I don't know, I've been told that that's kind of different and backwards from the way a lot of people do it. They usually write the vocals and then write the music to go with the vocals, but it just works better for me that way.
Sure, sure.
So anyway, if I have an idea of what I want to write about and I don't know a lot of the history or the meaning or the storyline, I will go research that after I decide what I want to write it about. So
Yeah.
basically, so the second song is about Xerxes and his trying to conquer the world, basically, and his vision of war. And so the third song is the title track to the album, Blood and Iron.
Okay.
And that song is about Cuchulainn, which was an Irish, they say folklore, but he was a real person. And the story of Cuchulainn was that he was a great warrior almost from birth. He was in battle at the age of 7.
Wow.
And he had this condition, they say, that when he went into battle that he had these convulsions basically that made him, it was like a rage type convulsion. And he would grow to, it doesn't really say how many times his normal size, but he would almost grow into a beast-like figure. Kind of like a berserker, I guess, for the Viking lore.
Yeah.
But he, like I said, he was in battle at the age of 7. I believe, I can't remember the age, but it was either 12 or 14 that he fathered his own child. Yeah, and later on in life, he was in a battle and actually killed his child, not knowing that it was his kid. So another story of him was he was invited to a gala to the Lord Cuchulainn, I believe is how his name was pronounced. But anyway, he didn't know that Cuchulainn was actually invited to this gala, and he released his hound on Cuchulainn, which killed the hound, and was a big huge dog, or I guess maybe even a wolf. And so anyway, feeling bad about the situation, Cuchulainn told Cuchulainn that he would be his hound from here on out, and that's where he got his nickname, the Wolf of Saxons, or the Hound of Cuchulainn.
Okay.
So basically, the guy was a badass. I mean, he just basically kicked ass and took names, and did that throughout his whole life, really. So that's one I would say mythological, but he really wasn't mythological. He was a real person that Ireland has fame to. And the cover of the album, I don't know if we'll touch on this, but the cover of the album is basically Cuchulainn on the back of this wolf that he supposedly killed, riding it into battle. We kind of went with that imagery for the album cover.
You have some great artwork on that album, and I'd mentioned a little bit off camera before we started recording. And from 2020's Valhalla, you have some great artwork, and these albums scream like classic metal and like Frazetta type paintings. And I thought it's just, I mean, going back to being an old school guy like me, before we had the internet and everything, when you just went to your record shop and you started throwing through it, that's what you look for. You look for a cover, and a lot of times you would take a chance on an album, not even knowing. It's like, wow, sound, it's got a great name, it's got some great titles, it's got like a sorcerer on the cover. Yeah, you got to buy this, so I think that's I get that feel from these album covers, that they're kind of very old school, like 70s 80s style covers in a way.
Yeah, we specifically went for stuff like that on all 3 albums. On our first album, we were kind of just wanting some kind of a wolf image.
Yeah.
And I came across that wolf image for the first album on the internet, and actually contacted the artist that did it, and his name was Okan Bulbul, and he's from Turkey.
Okay.
He licensed the image to us for the album cover, which was very nice of him to do that. And man, that album cover just, it almost instantly became iconic. People were just like, man, this album cover is great. And a lot of people did buy the album, buy the record because of the cover.
Sure.
And I remember as a kid going to record stores and picking out albums based on what the album cover looked like, being like,
Sure.
oh man, this has got to be good music because it's an awesome album cover.
Yeah.
So we got Okan to do the second album cover and did a great job. We're very happy with it. But the new album cover was actually done by an artist from Ireland. His name is Kelvin Doran,
Okay.
and he works for Serpent Tusk Studios.
Okay.
So, and we gave him very little to work with. I mean, me and him collaborated a little bit on the idea of the cover, and we told him, we said, just do your thing. We trust you. And he came back with what it is now, and we were just blown away. I mean, and the funny thing is, I just received my actual album.
Oh yeah, let's check it out.
In the mail the other day.
Nice.
So,
Oh yeah, look at that.
I mean, I couldn't be more pleased with it. I mean, it's just, the artwork on this thing is just freaking amazing. It almost looks like it just jumps off of the album cover.
Maybe hold it up there once more for us, because it was yeah, wow. It's got like
But
the
it's
guy down there, like
gatefold.
he's riding it, and then
But
with the
it's a
bow.
gatefold. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
just
Maybe this is where I get my Cirith Ungol connection with you a little bit, is that they have a lot of that type of artwork on their records too, and I can hear a little bit of them in the sound also.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned them, because I've been a fan of them for a while, and I was on Facebook the other day. Well, it's probably about 2 weeks ago now, and I know I'm friends with on Facebook with Jim Barraza from Cirith.
Okay.
And I commented on one of his posts,
Yeah.
and he got back with me on my comment, and then he was just like, "Hey man, give me a call." So it was pretty cool. I mean, I got to talk to him on the phone with him. I think we talked for at least an hour, if not more.
Okay.
And he's just a total down to earth guy, and I mean, just a really super nice guy. But we have a lot of things in common, and but yeah, we've definitely talked about hopefully hooking up someday on some shows.
That'd be great. That would be great. And any other songs you want to talk about on the I think we're up to like track 3. I don't mean to have you do the whole album, but it seems like every song that you've mentioned so far has a lot of meaning behind it.
It does. They all do. I mean, the fourth track is basically, it's called A King's Land, and it's about the Red Hand of Ulster. I don't know if you know that story, but it's on a lot of Irish flags, and basically Ulster was a land that was given to. They had a boat race basically and whoever touched the land first or stepped foot on the land of Ulster would give it to them, be given to them. And so there was a race, and one of the participants noticed he was falling behind in the race, and he was close enough that he could see the land, he could almost touch it. So what he decided to do was cut his hand off and throw it onto the beach. Yeah. He sacrificed his hand to get this land. So that's why it's called the Red Hand of Ulster's, because the hand being bloody, thrown onto the. And I've always thought that was a very interesting story, so I decided to make a song out of it, and it turned out really cool.
Okay.
The fifth song, which would be the first song on the second side, is called Broken Sword, and that is basically not really about any lore or mythological tale that I've heard. It was basically one that I made up in my head
Okay.
about a child seeing their village basically raped and pillaged, and he gets away in the dead of night, flames behind him, village burning, and he decides to take his sword up and take revenge on the people that did this. So 20 years later, he comes back as a warrior and takes his revenge.
Okay.
So that's what that song's about, and that's actually going to be our second video release, and it will be released on November 4th.
Oh, look forward to checking that out for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of my favorite songs on the album.
Okay.
It's a little faster, maybe.
Mhm.
It's definitely got more of a traditional heavy metal edge to it, or vibe.
All right.
So the next album the next song would be the Voyage, which we have the video out for now
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
Napalm. That song actually, to begin with, started out as the Voyage for Marco Polo and
Oh,
his journeys on the Silk Road. And the video really doesn't it doesn't show that. We kind of morphed the video into our own voyages from us being early teenagers to now. So
okay.
it kind of shows the history a little bit of where we started and where we are now. The video was just going to be too hard to pull off trying to do something with Marco Polo, and
Mhm.
it would have just been too big. And so
Yeah.
we decided to make it our own story. And I think that's kind of what's unique about that song, is that a lot of people probably could put their own story into that song. I mean, everybody has a journey or a voyage that they've been on, and I think a lot of people could probably put their own story into that song.
It starts off with like the four young kids hanging out. What are you guys doing today? And then
Yeah,
I see it portrayed in it was a story of you guys as kids, maybe, I guess, and becoming the band.
right, right.
Excellent.
So the next song on that is a Garden of Hesperides,
Mhm.
which is basically about a garden that has a tree in it that has fruit that gives eternal life. And there's the 100-headed dragon named Lauded that guards the garden. So that's what that song's about. I got the inspiration actually from one of the other band members. He was like, "This would make a cool story." So I did my research on it,
Mhm.
and it made a cool story. So the next song, being number 8, would be Winter White,
Okay.
and it's more. Um, it's actually one of my favorite songs too on the album. It's a little bit slower. It's got a lot of to me, it's got a lot of feeling, especially in the chorus. And I think would make a really, really cool video for that song too.
Okay.
I could see making a really, really cool video for that song. But it's just got a lot of feeling to it. And I actually got the inspiration for that song during the pandemic. I started watching Game of Thrones, and I know I'm really late to the party
You're
on that,
behind the
but
game on that one. Yeah, that's fine.
yeah, yeah, I'm behind the game on that one. But I don't get to watch a lot of TV, so I made myself sit down and watch the whole series, and I thought it was great.
Oh, yeah,
So
season.
I kind of got the inspiration from that, of the white wall and them heading out into the forest to fight these creatures that they really didn't know
Yeah,
exactly what they're
yeah.
facing. Um, and then the last song is called "The Mare," and that song is inspired by nightmares. Um, that's
Okay.
where the word nightmares come from. And there's a demon horse back in mythological, a demon horse that you would ride in your nightmares.
Okay.
Um, and that was kind of a hard song to put together. That was probably one of the most difficult songs to put together, as far as the music and the vocals and getting it to sound right. We actually, when we first wrote that song, we wrote it in and a half note higher step on the guitar. And we went back in and re-recorded it for the album. That was after we recorded 3 songs for the record label for them to hear. The Mayor was one of them, and it was a half step higher when we recorded it the first time. Okay. And the reason we went back in and re-recorded it at a half step lower is that my voice was just so high I mean, it's pretty high anyway.
Yeah.
But it was just like, it just didn't sound right to me. It wasn't in the right tone and the right key. It was just really super high. And I was like, wow, man, I almost sound like a girl on this. So we decided to re-record it in a half step lower note, and it turned out good.
Excellent. It looks like you put a lot of thought into the lyrics of the band of the album. I think sometimes hearing something like this will make you want to really listen to the songs a little bit more being explained this way. And what's the current lineup in the band? Was that the final song you said? Okay.
Yeah, that's the final song.
Okay, so what is your current lineup in the band currently, so we can go over the other members in the band that weren't able to join us today?
Well, there's been some controversy over the lineup of the band. I saw that Metal Archives said that Jeff Cole was no longer in the band.
Oh.
But he's in the band. He's never been out of the band.
Okay.
We've never talked about him not being in the band. He has never talked about not being in the band. He's been with us since the inception of the band, and we don't see that changing anytime soon.
Okay.
We're not going to let him leave. So anyway, Jeff Cole is the other lead guitar player and rhythm, and Terry McDaniel Jr. is on bass, and Johnny Herod is on the drums.
Excellent. And how long and let's talk a little bit about the band's history that we didn't touch earlier. We've got, this is our 3rd album, with 2018 being the first. How long have you guys been around, and generally around before then? And
yeah, Wolftooth actually started around 2017.
Okay.
And that was when we did the EP and got some recognition for it. We put this band together really just wanting to get together and jam. I mean, we're all older, you know. We thought that it's kind of funny how it happened. We honestly thought our music days were done. I mean, and you know, we are kind of a good testament to don't ever give up your dream. Don't ever give up, because you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we started Wolftooth in 2017, and just to get together and jam and maybe play out once or twice a month, if that, local bars or whatever, and just for something to do, because we were all sitting around not doing anything. Johnny at the time was in a band, but the other 3 of us, we weren't really doing anything. But the funny thing is, 4 years earlier, so say 2013, me and Terry and Jeff all got together and wrote some songs, and we had another drummer, and we were going under the name Wolftooth. But we had never recorded anything. We never played out. And that drummer ended up having to quit because he was in a cover band, and they were getting a lot more shows and things like that. So Johnny came and tried out for us, and he was in another band at the time that he had been in for like 13 years. And it just didn't work out. He decided he was going to stay with the band that he was with at the time. And so we just kind of gave up on it. And I actually didn't pick up my guitar for probably about 3 years.
Wow.
And I think it was a good break for me, especially for me, because from the time I was 14, maybe 15 years old, I had been in a band. And at this time I was in my 40s, or getting ready to be. And so it was a good break for me, because I think what I was writing when I came back from that break was a lot fresher and just a lot more in depth and thought. And it was a good break for me. And I think what we've accomplished in the last 4 to 5 years is pretty amazing for a band that thought, or for 4 guys that thought their music careers were done.
You're based in Indiana. Whereabouts in Indiana are you? I'm not too familiar with the town Richmond, but I haven't been out there too much other than to go to the Indy 500 once. So
Well, we're about an hour east of Indianapolis
okay,
and about 40 minutes west of Dayton, Ohio.
okay, yeah.
So we're kind of like in the middle of a couple pretty good music
Mm-hmm.
states. So Richmond's very small, and actually the town that I live in is Cambridge City, and if it has 3,000 people, and I'd be surprised.
Okay,
But Richmond has about 40,000 people in it, and it's just a small town, but it's always had a pretty good music scene, even when we started. And like the other three guys in the band, we've all been in bands together before earlier on in our music careers. And in fact, I've never played with another bass player in my life besides Terry.
okay.
Um, I was in a death metal band back in the early 90s, and I played bass. I started out playing bass and then switched over guitar. But as far as bass players go, I've never played with another guitar player or with another bass player. And me and Jeff and me and Johnny have both been in other bands together, and we've all been in other bands together previous.
Okay.
So we've got a long history.
Sure. Uh, you got any plans, special plans or anything that promote the new album? Do you have any gigs lined up at all, or any tours
Yeah,
or anything like
we're playing here in Richmond, just a local show on November 6th.
that? Okay.
And we are planning on hopefully getting some kind of a support tour early 2022, right after the album comes out.
Yeah.
We're wanting to do some kind of United States tour, because in April, the end of April, all through May, we are planning on booking a 30-day tour in Europe.
Nice.
And yeah, and it's almost completely booked. So that should definitely happen. But we'd like to get a small tour in of some sort before we go do that, just to get warmed up and you
Yeah.
know.
Are you
Um,
heading to Europe to support someone or just doing your own thing over there?
no, we're actually doing it's a co-headlining tour with the Huntsman,
Okay.
and nobody knows that yet.
Oh no,
But
no, oh boy. It's
it's no big deal.
breaking news, breaking news.
Yeah, that's what we're working on.
Okay, good.
So, but it's almost completely booked, and it'll be a 30-day tour. And as of right now, I don't think we have very many days off, maybe 6. So it's
Okay.
gonna be a lot of shows, and we're super excited about that because we've never been to Europe, and
Yeah.
we know we have a lot of fans over there that are excited for us to come over, and we're really looking forward to the experience.
What are some of your influences? Some stuff that you grew up, or maybe everybody's influences do change, but what kind of got you into playing guitar and playing hard rock and heavy metal style music as a growing up?
Well, I've got a brother that's 6 years older than me, so
Mm,
I heard everything from Billy Joel to Kiss to Black Sabbath,
mm-hmm.
Fog Hat. I mean, Gary
Yeah,
Moore. Um, I
yeah,
mean, I heard a Triumph. I just heard a lot of different music, Led Zeppelin, and
sure.
personally, I mean, what got me into metal probably, I would say it would probably be Iron Maiden or Halloween. I loved
Oh
Halloween when
wow.
I was a kid, and I thought they were great. Of course, I started out on Black Sabbath, like a lot of
Okay.
people do, and I started out on Led Zeppelin, and Kiss was huge in our house. So that's where the heavy rock started for me. But I would say the first metal band that I was in that I really fell in love with probably was Iron Maiden. Um, I don't know, they just always appealed to
Sure.
me, and then of course it grew from there. I mean, I've always loved the Misfits, and
Okay.
which the Ramones and
Yeah.
Sam Hain and things like that. But
Okay.
um, in the late '80s, early '90s, I really got into a lot of death metal, and I mean, I just went to every show I could possibly see when I was 18 years old. I mean, Deicide and just Obituary, Cannibal Corpse, Death. I mean, you name it. I was at the show, and I remember one of the bands that I saw that really impressed me was a band, and at the time I didn't really know who they were, but it was Cathedral.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
To me, Cathedral's always been like the pinnacle of a doom band for me. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that's pretty much what I've grown up on. I mean, of course I love Soundgarden. They were probably one of my favorite bands of all time. I pretty much love everything that Danzig does.
Okay.
I think he's a great musician. I mean, of course, Ozzy Osbourne is in there. You can, and the funny thing is my vocals have been compared to Ozzy a lot on this new album, especially.
You
And
know what? I was watching your video just a little while ago. My wife was in the kitchen making up some food or something. She goes, "It kind of reminds me a little bit of Ozzy Osbourne."
yeah,
And I said, "I don't know. I'm hearing a little bit different from it," but she said it reminds me of Ozzy's voice a little bit. And you resemble an old friend of ours we knew years ago that used to work on cars a little bit. And I'm like, man, he looks a lot like our old buddy Frank there. And
yeah,
she's like, oh yeah. And then she looked at it, it's like, oh yeah, he does. But anyhow, that was interesting because you said Ozzy, and she picked up on that a little bit. But I don't know.
yeah.
I
It's
think you got your
something that,
own. You have definitely, you got a higher voice than I would say looking at you. It's like, man, a different kind of power coming out of you than I expected, but it was very good.
yeah. When I was, I don't. Well, let's just say when Soundgarden really hit the mainstream.
Yeah.
I was singing at the time, and I thought, if I can sing every Soundgarden song,
Mm.
then I pretty much got it licked. I mean, I could sing probably anything.
Yeah.
So I really conditioned my voice to be able to hit the notes that Chris Cornell hit.
Okay.
And I think that's why my voice is in a higher range now. And if I don't know if you're familiar with the first two albums, but
Soundgardens?
no, of
Your
Wolftooth.
album. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't got to listen. I've listened to Valhalla a little bit, but I just discovered your band when I set up this interview, I think on Thursday, and I've been off at a outdoor like dirt track race for 4 days, so I haven't had a lot of time to listen to everything yet.
Well, if you listen to the first album, you're going to notice a big difference in the vocal
okay.
in the vocals from the first album to now. The
Mm-hmm.
first album I was a lot more subdued and a lot lower range.
Mm-hmm.
And it just wasn't I love the album, don't get me wrong. It's probably the reason that I'm talking to you right now.
Okay.
Or at least some of it. But it really wasn't my vocal range. So in the next two albums, I just decided I need to sing in the range that I feel more comfortable with. And the new album is definitely where I feel the most comfortable and the strongest. I feel like my voice is the strongest at that range and at that tone and that key. And I think it's the key is what a lot of people, and the pitch that a lot of people associate my voice with Ozzy. Because they are very similar, but I figure, heck, who better to be compared to than Ozzy?
Like I could hear a little bit of influence of the Sword with you guys. I mean, maybe from the video and seeing the orange amps too. It's some in that category. I'd say a little bit in that, the stoner doomy type of stuff, which is really good. And it's been a pleasure to have you on and have you give your time to the Rock Fantasy Files today.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And hopefully we can have you on the channel again down the road. And anything else you'd like to give a message to the viewers before we wrap this up? And of course, we want to talk about, is this album going to be available on? It's going to be digital, of course. It's a CD, and is there going to be a vinyl copy pressed to this?
There are vinyl copies, and the pre-order is actually on right now. If you go to napalmrecords.com, you can pre-record Blood and Iron. It comes out on December 3rd. And we do have some special limited edition copies. I know a lot of them are already sold out.
Wow.
So if you're wanting, yeah, I know there's one that is completely sold out, and it came, it was a gold vinyl with a patch, a slip mat, and
Wow.
something else. I can't remember what else. But anyway, those are already sold out. But there are some black and gold marble vinyl that are still available, I believe. So if you want a vinyl copy, you need to get to napalmrecords.com pretty quick and get them ordered, because they are going pretty quick. But besides that, we just want to thank everybody for all the support that everybody's given us over the last 5 years. We'd like to thank Napalm Records for the chance to be able to release this album through them. Napalm Events for setting up our booking. And thank you for having us on your show.
Excellent. One last question. Where did the name Wolftooth come from?
To be honest, I just, when I was thinking of the name, I just wanted something kind of menacing. And I've always loved wolves.
Yeah.
And it really didn't come from any other name or anything like that. I just, for one day, just came up and said Wolftooth, and it just kind of stuck, honestly.
Oh. I was just interesting. It was banging around my head. What, you know.
Yeah, just always been interested in wolves and trying to get something to go with a wolf. You know, we didn't want to just name it Wolf because there's already a band named that. So we wanted to have something with wolf in it. And I just, you know, we threw around a couple of different ideas of like Wolf Heart and then there's already a band called Wolf Heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Wolftooth, we figured out that it was available. So we took it.
Yeah. We're running out of wolf names and bands.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, it was great meeting you today, and I hope our viewers will take a chance and go over to your website and go over to Napalm and order some stuff and go listen to this band and check them out and see what you guys think, and let us know in the comments. Are you digging it? Are you not digging it? Or hopefully go out and see them on tour and all that good stuff, and stay metal and stay safe, and take a moment to subscribe to my channel if you like the input. What we're doing, we're going to be gathering on Wednesday night with our band panel, and we're going to be reviewing Typo Negative and talking about our favorite Typo Negative moments. Also have had Gus G on the channel within the last week. We'll be putting his video up, former Ozzy Osbourne and current Firewind guitarist who just did a solo album. And just trying to keep things rocking here in Middletown, New York, and it's good to have a guy from Indiana on today. So
Appreciate it.
And stay safe out there and stay heavy.
All right. Thank you very much.